Welcome back to the Walking Dead support group, or as tonight we're going to call it, the intermission show for the Patriots game.
Halftime.
So we had a good episode tonight. High kill count. Things went crazy. So as we always start off, I'm your center host, Alex. To my left, I have Jason McCarthy. To my right, I have Keith O'Brien. Tonight's episode was called Consumed. It was billed as Daryl and Beth chased the white-crossed car into a desolated Atlanta with the hopes of finding Beth. We got a lot of answers, a lot of flashbacks, and going from there. So, Keith, what was our kill count?
Kill count tonight on walkers or jumpers.
Jumpers. Leapers.
Leapers, jumpers.
Jeepers, creepers. All right, moving on.
It's 26.
26.
26.
I can handle 26.
Counted them all, so to speak.
All right, so welcome back. As we always do, we like to kind of get right into it. We had a discussion going on Facebook and on Twitter about how this episode went. Some of the funnier things that we saw tonight was we had a brief moment where Carol and Daryl were in a bed together, and I know from Facebook women went nuts over that. And then all of a sudden the zombies came in. Sherry, one who likes to come up with the memes for Jason, she made a great comment that every time it looks like they're about to smooch, boom, there come the zombies. They're like the little kids interrupting mom and dad.
Speaking of little kids, that was a tough one.
Oh, that was a tough moment.
Yeah.
That was a rough one.
That was a really rough moment. Why did that hurt you?
Well, I have kids, number one, and just seeing them, I mean, they're not really suffering, but
How do you know?
They were already suffering.
maybe
They were in
Now
a
they're dead.
shelter.
they don't have enough brains left to suffer.
Now they're wandering around.
Yeah.
But, the good thing is now
The
they
kids
don't have to
permanently
worry.
trick-or-treating.
Yeah.
Wow. It's pretty good though.
I know, we're getting horrible. Keith, what about you? What kind of outstanding things did you see in this episode that you want to talk about?
I like the flash forward. Again, I thought it was good because it. You alluded to it in the show that it centers on one character. Even though Carol is with Daryl, it did center more on Carol with
Right.
all her flashbacks, flash forwards. Kind of gave us what she's thinking
Right.
along the lines with consumed. She did say, I guess part of my line of the night was everything now consumes you. Centered on survival. She says she doesn't believe in heaven. She doesn't believe in God. Am I going to hell, or whatever she said she's going there, or how she's going to get there. So I did like that. I like the way it was done tonight. If you put it that way.
We're getting a report that Verizon customers are hearing some kind of hissing. That could be just us.
Excuse us.
Yeah, that's Keith at Taco Bell, who's not a sponsor of this episode. One of the things that I liked about this particular episode is that, with not just the flash forwards and backwards with Carol, she actually said the evolution between herself and she commented on Daryl. Like she said, you were kind of like a kid and now you're a man. Mm-hmm. And he is. He definitely evolved into a troubled kid. I mean, he was probably, in his late 20s, but he's still a kid compared to Carol. And so he's evolved into realistically like a second in command. He's almost like a sergeant at arms for like Rick. He's definitely his number two. But this was one of those things that I liked about Andrea's character was that she finally started to develop and become this strong female lead. And now Carol has taken on that approach, and she was the one who was pushing Andrea to do it back, in the Woodbury days. And tonight she said, I became who I thought I was supposed to be, and not the wife of the man that was abusing her and putting up with that. So in a way, the zombie apocalypse has freed her from her fate. She became who she thought she was supposed to be, which, there was no way she could have said, I was supposed to be this during the zombie apocalypse.
Yep.
This isn't supposed to happen. But
Right.
she evolved into that. She was very much liberated by her own trappings and the environment she had. And, when there's no rules, she found a way to kind of come out, and she's created some rules that I think the group sticks to, and that Rick, likes to hold to everybody else, but not himself.
Right.
So what do you think of her development? Do we finally have a strong female character that's going to stick around?
I think so because in one of the flashbacks we show her moving on from when Rick, told her to leave, and she found a building. She secured it on her own. It seemed to me like she was putting something out the window, maybe to control, contain rainwater.
Yeah.
And that's when she saw the fire at the prison, and she left immediately to go check it out because even though she got kicked out by Rick, she still cares about him, and she's going to stick with them. But you know, there's a little bit of a timeline there where she was taking care of herself. She's definitely taking care of herself. She's definitely a strong character, but
And one of the things that we
you know,
talked-
like you say, I think she's been consumed by the zombie apocalypse to become, as you say, what she is now.
Right.
You know, if the zombie apocalypse didn't happen, she's probably in that shelter again, anyways.
Well, you know what? If who would she have been without the zombie apocalypse if she hadn't had that husband? You know, what would she you know, would she have been like the head of the PTA? Would she have been like a city councilor?
No, she would
You
have
know,
just been at home taking a beating.
No, I'm saying
Without-
away
without
from
the
him.
husband,
away from
yeah.
him.
Away
Yeah.
from him.
She'd probably be a walker.
No, without the. Never mind. I don't know how this is working out, but one of the things.
She'd be the lady.
Without
and
the
kid
zombie
banging on the
apocalypse,
window.
no. Without the
Yeah.
zombie apocalypse, she said, I am who I'm supposed to be, who I thought I would be. So, take out the zombie apocalypse. If she wasn't married to him,
Yeah.
who would she have been in a normal society?
I don't know.
That's that's
don't know.
No, we don't know, but
We don't know.
Yeah.
But that's why certain people will survive in this, and those are the ones who are willing to act faster. And we've talked about it, and she's one of them, right?
Yeah. One thing I would have loved to have seen is a flashback to, we talked about her development and what she is now, but what I would like to have seen is from the first, I think it was episode 3 of the show, what was it, who she was then when he was hitting her,
Yeah, but we
the
did see
scared
that
woman.
when
We did really see
we
that,
did
though.
really
She
see
was
that though,
just a-
because she was still with Dale
Yeah.
and Andrea's sister.
She was
I'm
the
saying,
person
I
that
think that she was at her weakest at that point.
she would know
Yeah.
she was still at her weakest point
Yeah.
because she was with her husband and she was the one fetching the water and washing the clothes, and then when she tried to be independent, he gave her a beating, and
You
then
know-
way back when, we'll flashback.
And that was Shane who came out and
Shane came
beat
up
the
to beat
bag
him,
out of him.
and then
That
what
was
did she
awesome.
do? She was right over to him.
And
it
that goes
wasn't
to my
until
point. Look where she is now.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
She is without a doubt. She's a female equivalent of Rick, but I don't think I'm going to see her bite somebody's neck out yet. But I think
yeah.
she's capable of as equal swift justice as he is,
Yeah.
for the living or for the dead. And she's struggling with her own humanity, and we saw like with Daryl when he dropped that book. All of a sudden, all her toughness, she realized she did have something in common with him, that he had been abused and that he was trying to struggle through that. And so all of a sudden, when she saw that book, she was kind of a kid. And we had talked about the flashbacks inside, and one of the things that was a lot of people thought Carol could die this season or up until now already, was that she really wasn't billed and she wasn't seen filming a lot.
Yeah.
We've seen with these flashbacks that they had to have been filming while they were still filming last season. There was too much stuff. The stuff at the
Yeah.
prison, the Pats got a touchdown.
Pats
Thank you
touchdown.
for the control room.
Thank you.
But that was one of those moments where you're kind of looking and seeing how it's tied into this story. And the flashbacks normally kind of annoy me, but these flashbacks are shorter, more
Yeah.
detail filled, and then they're right back to it.
It gave us, but believe me, I'm not a big fan of like the flashback, flash forward, Star Trek kind of episode. But this one I did like because, like you said, it did build her character and how she's been, as she says, how she's been consumed to become the person that she is.
Right.
I think she's pretty safe too. When you look at
Safe
the
how?
rest,
You mean like she's not going to get killed off?
right?
Okay.
At least for this season.
Yeah.
Because there are no strong females
No.
on this show. I mean, the closest you could come is Maggie, but I don't know. I just
No.
don't. She's not in the same
I
league
think
as Carol.
it all depends on what they do with the Beth storyline, because Beth is developing into
a
that
strong
next
character.
strong female character, and this was the thing, is that she had said to Daryl, remember back at the Moonshine hut that
need
they
you
had,
anymore.
I don't need you anymore. I am capable of this, and you know what? I may not be Michonne. I may not be them. I may not be this. But I'm still here. I must be able to survive this if I've made it this long.
Right.
And
She's doing her thing
right.
differently.
And you know what? But now, I mean, I was really hoping to see that, Grady Memorial Hospital burning to the ground tonight. I really was.
Like that, yeah. You
Yeah,
wanted- yeah, just-
I do. I want Carol and Beth sitting there with like road flares and going, I really do. I want to see that. That's going to be a great
It's still
moment.
going to come down. I mean, alluding to that, we only have 2 episodes left. I think it's going to lead up to probably a face-to-face or head-to-head between the 2 groups inside the hospital. And
Yeah,
it's-
well, we
and-
know
and it's gonna
Daryl
be
goes
something-
back.
Daryl goes back now.
And
we know that.
we're fairly certain it's got to be Noah.
Yep.
Right? So he's got Noah with him.
Right.
They go back. they tell Rick.
Tell Rick.
And we know next week's episode is their
Crossed.
it's crossed, and where they're back at the church, and they're trying to figure out
probably
this,
what
yeah.
to do. But are we getting an episode to the cliffhanger at the hospital,
Yeah.
or are we going
Oh,
to get? Or are we
it's
going to
a
get to the
cliffhanger at the
hospital, get
hospital.
out, get into the hospital, get out, and then the cliffhanger again, leaving Atlanta
No, it's going to be a cliffhanger at
the
that hospital.
So it's
yeah.
going to be 2 episodes of a build-up of a
and
fight,
and
head-to-head
I-
fight again.
a
with
major
another group.
character does have to die at the hospital
No
by
doubt.
then.
No doubt.
Somebody's got to
And
go.
a mid-season finale, definitely.
Yeah,
Somebody's
I
going
mean,
by the way.
it's got. I mean, if it doesn't, they've made a switch, and you know that'd be fine too. That'd be an interesting shocker. Keith, from tonight's episode, what was your favorite moment out of everything?
Aside from the flashback for stages, I guess my favorite moment or questionable moment is the camp on the Sky Bridge. So we've got people camping at an elevated level,
Yep.
which we talked about earlier. They seem to have one side of the Sky Bridge, and we've all been on it, so let's not discuss it, locked up. They're in the tents, and people are in the tents, and you said they can't fight out of the tent, so I'm sure you'll hit on that. But then we got
Yeah, that bothered me.
then we got walkers or pods in the sleeping bags,
Yeah.
pods. So they all died in their.
I-
did they all die?
one
in
of
their
the-
sleep-
one of the
how did
comments
they
about-
die? I want to know, how did they die on the bridge? What happened on the bridge? Why are those people dead in sleeping bags and in the tent? Did they die in their sleep that night?
You know, they died from fright.
Oh,
No,
that sucks.
I don't know. One of the comments, and I think it was Cynthia had said she referred to them as Walker burritos. You know, that was a good one. We've had a lot of varying forms of walkers. Jay, for you, what was your favorite moment of the night?
It had to be the raining walkers, just falling one after the other on top of that van. I think it was Keith that
The
said,
big thumps.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think we heard about a dozen hit the top
Something
of the van.
like
That
that,
was
yeah.
great.
Yeah, and
I don't know the
Ann
number
Kay
before.
from Twitter had the best comment that any of us. I mean, we've all come up with funny ones. You're going to use her line of the night for all right.
Forget it.
All right. Scratch that. Jason's going to steal Ann Kay's line of the night. So,
But I am
he's going to
quote-
give
I
her
am gonna
credit.
cite
Yes,
her.
I do see that. I do see that. For me, my favorite moment was that scene where they were in that shelter of sorts, and the mother and the child zombie came up to the door, and that Carol has almost, because she lost a child to it, and then she's had to put down a child because of it. She now feels like she's almost that mother who it's like Sophie's Choice. I've got to kill them just because they're a walker now. And you could see that little hand come up to the door, and like all three of us went, oh. You know, it was, and as jaded as we can be, and like as much as we want the gore factor in this show, we saw that little hand come up and the little head, and we went, oh. That just
It
sucked
had
the
a
wind out
dramatic
of
moment too. It
It
was good. It was
was.
done well because
Yeah.
the boom and then boom again.
Yeah.
A couple seconds after.
And that opaque shadowing through the glass really was a nice touch. And then when she was about to go and do the right thing, Daryl said, "You don't have to do it. You don't have to do it." And then finally got her to not do it, and she walked away. And then the next morning, she comes out and she sees Daryl did it. Daryl did, and you know, now she's got that added layer to connection.
And he went back to how they do things. Like, you know, they always take care of their own.
Right.
You know, either burying them or burning them. And he took the time. You know, they were going through this building, killing walkers left, right, and center.
Right.
And
Those two got a burial.
Those two got a burial in a sort because maybe Daryl's doing it to help her along.
Yeah.
You know, because they did allude, like, I think she was trying to say, do you know what happened with the kids when she met up with Tyrese? And he says he knows. So it's not just, like you say, the mother and the daughter, the mother and the child banging on the glass because of Sophie. She's got the whole Lizzie thing to deal with
Right.
Yeah.
as well.
Right.
So, you know, he gave her closure by doing what they do all the time with
Right.
somebody that's close to them.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, and I thought that was just a great moment that adds to that Daryl-Carol connection that everybody wants to see.
Yeah.
And you know what? At this point, I have to admit, I kind of want to see it. I know, I mean, she's obviously a little bit older than him in this, but at this point, I almost want to see this kind of connection. I don't think it'll last long. I think if it does, you're probably going to get an episode or two out of this, and then that's probably how Carol's going to die. She'll die in his arms or something stupid. But I do want to see that connection. I think if any two people at this point in time deserve that kind of connection, that kind of reconnection to their not only another human being, but their own human emotions, would be then. And that goes back to how well this season's been written. I think we can all agree that the writing got way better this season.
way better.
They've done a much better job with their action. They're doing a much better job at their transitions, and the writing just is better.
They're doing much better with the storylines of the characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
And using the episodes to tell those stories.
Right.
At least we've kind of hit on it. We had a Carol episode, an Abram episode,
Beth
and,
episode.
Beth episode. Thank you. Whether it's because of production dollars, because you don't have to show all the characters, but it's done really well, very well.
There was, if I can find it really quick, there's a lot of people now starting to do kind of what we do, but like one, two-person kind of teams up. And one of the things that I saw somebody go into was they did the webisodes, and they were talking about one of the webisodes showed a guy going through like a container, like in a warehouse, and it turns out the box he's going through is the Grimes family stuff. And that's where the picture of the female cop, who we don't know, could be Dawn, may not be.
Yeah.
But he did a really kind of good job at kind of going through the webisode. Now, granted, he's doing it at home, so he can get away with using the actual images a little bit. Obviously we can't because we worry about copyright. But I would say that it's probably worth everybody's time to kind of go catch some of these other webisodes and see what some of the other fans are doing, because he really did a great detailed analysis. So I'll throw it up on our Facebook page later, and I'll also throw it up on the Twitter feed for people. It really was an interesting analysis and kind of fun to see somebody else doing what we do, because now I don't feel like we're the only ones doing the Wayne's World of the zombie apocalypse.
So they're not doing it on live TV.
No, and we're doing it to obviously a large scale. But I was still impressed that this kid did a really good job on his production. So line of the night for me, it had to have been "Buckle Up." When they were in that van, and how do you get out of it? And the only problem I have with that was that the van landed on its four wheels. It shouldn't have landed on the wheels.
And then the airbag shouldn't have gone off.
I don't know.
It did land on four wheels.
I don't know enough
It
about the
could've.
airbags.
I don't know enough. It's usually forward impact.
I thought
but-
the engine was supposed to be on for that, but maybe not. I don't know.
I think it's battery driven, but you're
well,
right.
all right. If it's battery driven, it shouldn't have gone
Gone
off.
off.
I
yeah.
think Carol's airbag
But I'm saying it
was on
shouldn't have gone
recall.
off if it landed on all four wheels, because it's always frontal impact. But
Well,
You know,
who knows? I mean,
yeah.
it might have at that point. It might have just gone off.
gone
But
off,
I mean, that's even if that truck actually or that van had airbags, because who knows how old that van really was. But it was one of those. It was kind of fun to watch, because then it gave us another great moment, which one of you have to be taking. So.
I don't know. You go, because I don't think it's mine.
Well, this goes right along with my favorite moment of the night with the Raining Walkers, and you having to mention it. Was it on Twitter?
Yeah.
It was on Twitter. Twitter, Ann K. This is cited from her. Cloudy with a chance of walkers was
Yeah,
by
today's
far,
what-
that was
tonight's
my
weather
favorite line of the
forecast
night.
is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was fantastic. That was a great line. Keith, what was it for you?
I like the whole chasing down Everybody Hates Noah. Okay, because I never watched Everybody Hates Chris, but everybody's talking about it online and Twitter.
Oh,
and
that was a
mentioned
great
it.
show.
So we know he's everybody from. So they get in the hallway, they chase down Everybody Hates Noah, and Daryl says to him, "Why are you following us?" And he goes, "Why are you following me?" Because they're both heading back. They're heading to the hospital because they think they're looking for him,
reason.
and he's heading back to the hospital to get Beth. And he's like, "Why are you following us? And, why are you following me?" I know what I learned tonight from Kat. That's
Yeah,
huge.
that was good.
We got to do that.
Yeah, we're gonna do that
We'll
one.
throw that out.
Kathy, you must be watching, so you're gonna get a mention tonight. That was really
That's
good.
really good.
So, kills of the night, Jay. What do you think the kill of the night was for you?
My favorite was the machete to the forehead.
The guy who was pinned up against the wall.
Yeah, pinned up
Yeah.
against the wall with the coral. Yeah,
I like that too.
that was nice.
I like. I'm gonna kind of steal it from Vinny because he's online, so he might be watching. I'm gonna go with Greg Louganis, number one.
Oh no! Oh, yes.
Send your hate mail to HCAM. Attention Keith.
BJ Foley.
If you're on Facebook, start with Vinny because he's the one who came up
Vinny
with that
gave
one.
me the hint, and then yeah. So the head splat into the windshield from one because I was just sitting there waiting
Yeah,
for them
that
to
was-
come.
Well,
back.
wait, I didn't even
To
say
come-
what.
to
They're
have
not,
them- to
they're
have
not
them
going to
come-
chase the truck?
Yeah, chase the truck. I'm just waiting for them to come thumping down. You
Yeah,
know,
and then boom, 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 boom. Yeah, that was good. And it was kind of like that thump,
thump,
thump, thump, thump, thump, thump, thump.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
like
was
that.
I think
awesome.
we counted about a dozen.
Yeah, you know, like a bunch of ball bearings, like just rolling off the head, you know, or 12 slinkies.
I'm with you. I liked his kill, but there were several versions of that tonight. And it was Daryl when he was swinging the machete. He went all Rick up in that place, and he was
Yeah.
just swinging. And there was one scene where the walker was kind of getting up a little bit, and when he came through, he had split the head like it was a cantaloupe, and you could see the brain inside. I was like, oh, that was a good
That's
one.
the one I think where he almost hit Carol with the machete.
You might, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause we had 3 machete kills.
Yeah, that was pretty good. So predictions for next week, Crossed. What do we?
Well, obviously it's kind of easy, so maybe it's out there too easy. But obviously these two groups are going to cross paths.
Okay.
And on the other hand, no, I'll go with that, and I'll leave the other one out there in case you guys don't hit on it. But I think it's obviously that they're going to cross the streams here, group to group, and we're going to see what happens at the hospital.
Jay, what do you got?
Dawn's kind of a dictatorship or a dictatorship, if you will. It's kind of a tyrannistic.
Yeah, but she's the only way she has power is she's letting these guys basically rape women, and
Right.
how much longer can that last?
But I think it's going to come along the lines of, this group, Rick's group, is crossing them. Crossing a line, if you will. I think that's kind of where it's going to go.
I think I think that title will allude to the future, but I think for this particular episode, I'm thinking what Crossed has to do with is more about the church and something to do with Gabriel. One, because you've got the symbolism of a cross. Mm-hmm. You've got the priest who's got a secret, and we know we're going back to the church. So what's going to happen there? Somebody said that in one of the previews they saw Noah hugging Tyrese?
I thought I saw that. I don't know if it was
didn't
Noah
see
or
that.
not.
Yeah.
It
All right.
could've been, yeah.
Well, if that's true, I mean, that would be interesting because, everyone online was betting that it was Morgan's nephew.
Well, my other thought on cross is maybe that somebody in one of the groups has crossed their own group, like a double cross.
That's a good one.
You know?
Crossed is the first of 2 words, which the second word would be out.
Or
Yeah.
Or
Or?
it could be, we could get some more of the story between Abraham and Eugene.
Yeah.
Because that's long overdue. I mean, people were saying, is he dead? Because Abraham put the beating on him. I mean, he was out cold before he hit the ground.
Oh, yeah.
And
That was really well done.
And you know what? I've seen people get knocked out in a professional capacity. Just saying. But it's one of those things. It's not easy to act because, your eyes are still open, and you got to give him credit. When he got hit, to me, his eyes were out. I don't know how you fake that.
Oh, it's just down goes Frazier.
Yeah, that was the down goes Frazier moment.
Yeah.
He really, to me, looked like he got
Yeah, it
knocked
was
out.
really
Well, he's
well
probably
done.
going to take 2 episodes to get back up.
Well, he's got to come up with a
No,
lie.
yeah.
And all right, so what we learned tonight, and I'm going to let Kathy have the first word. Keith, since you saw it, go ahead.
We'll just give a quick shout out to Kathy, watching us obviously here in Holbrook. She wrote, "What did I learn? Daryl will never, in capital letters, get any in the zombie apocalypse." I don't know what she's referring to, get any, because this is public access TV.
That's true.
It's a family show.
No, it's not.
Not really. Yeah, we know what you mean. It's like it was like a scene from Big when on the bunk bed, because I know you want the bottom.
Okay.
Okay. I kind of wanted. All right, I'm going down. I will not be here next week because I'm going to say it. I kept waiting for Carol to be in the bunk bed, on the bunk staring at the ceiling, and he's in the bunk bed, and the bunk bed started shaking. Yeah.
All right. Well, you also get the
microphone?
you get to have the first. What did you learn tonight?
Figure that one out. Yeah. Oh, me too.
Yeah. That's,
What I learned is, seriously now,
Oh, now
Oh,
we're
yeah,
getting
it's
serious.
a serious face. I've learned that through these episodes, whether they're being written this way, is they're starting to learn a little bit more. You know, like Daryl and Carol are in the car, just this episode. They're driving down the road. She says, "Why don't we just pull over, get the driver? The driver will tell us." And he goes, "No, we're going to follow them. We're going to watch them. We're going to find out what they can do." So they're learning. You know, it's almost like the setup at the church. You know, they left, boom, they came in, we killed them. You know, they're taking advantage of just as many living people as they are walkers in this program. So I've learned that they're learning.
Okay. Jay?
Other than walkers can't fly, I kind of learned that, these Daryl and Carol, they kind of had their own MO away from Rick. Now, they act a certain way with Rick around. I didn't see
Oh,
that
that's a
tonight,
great point.
that
That really is.
they would not have come back for him if they didn't kill him out. Noah, I'm talking about, sorry. If they didn't kill Noah outright, he definitely wouldn't have come back for him. He would have left him to whatever fate.
Yep. Rick definitely would have loved
And
him.
he would have
Yeah.
burned that bridge.
Unless Carl was there. If Carl was
Yeah.
there, you're right. But yeah, they do act very different now that you've made me think of that. That's a great point.
Very good point.
For me,
what'd you
I
learn?
learned two things.
Alex, what did
All
you
right.
learn?
So the first one is I'll be quasi serious, and I can't believe we hadn't even mentioned this yet. That Daryl is one hell of an art critic.
Oh man, yeah, we did forget that.
You know,
How did we forget
that was bordering on like Merle and Abraham coming up with how do we critique that piece of art. You know, that was it looked like it was a dog's ass. I was like, oh my god, that was hysterical. But then the other thing I did learn tonight was Kirkman likes flashbacks more than a hippie listening to Freedom Rock.
That was a good one.
He is really he's hammering away. But so far, I'm buying into it. And we've talked about this in the side room, and tonight Keith even threw it up on Facebook. Hyundai, please, everybody, tell Hyundai to come up with a new ad. I think we've even talked about it on this
It
show.
was
What is that,
gone
3
for a
years
couple
old?
of weeks.
Yeah,
And it's 3 years old.
yeah, it's horrible. Well, you've got the pointy sticks. I mean, come on, come up with a new ad. And you know what? You don't sponsor us either, so your ad's horrible. Update it.
All right, I do want to see that car in the show, though.
No.
No?
We can't go Mad Max on this.
I have.
It was bad enough they showed up with a tank that was still working.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I had a hard time buying that one.
Right.
But all right, so as we wrap up, Jason, is there anything you want to add before we go?
No, I'm good.
You're good. You're good.
No, I got one. I had a question,
Sure.
and I had a theory. I just wanted to throw this out there. Maybe we'll get some homework. We'll talk about it during the week. When they're in the first room, the residents in there, Daryl looks out the window, and then he says, "Give me the rifle," and he uses the scope on the rifle, and he overlooks the roof of a building. And I said, "Is he looking at the roof of the building where Merle died?" And then he spots that van. Was that the same roof? Kind of looked like it.
Oh, might have been.
You know what? That could very well be.
'Cause I thought he was
and
looking
I
at
would
the
not
roof,
put
'cause
it past them to put that kind of an Easter egg in there.
A good point, Easter egg. Maybe that's what it is. And I'll probably watch it on the replay because it almost looks like he looks at the roof, then looks up at the van.
Did you throw that up on Facebook?
No, I
That-
did not.
You got to throw that question up
I
on
will
Facebook.
throw that up on Facebook.
That is a great question. I've got nothing else to add other
You know-
than what?
Sorry, my apologies. One thing I saw in the previews was Glenn. Are they back? Did anyone see if they came back to the church yet?
No,
They're
we
still
don't know that
separate.
yet. No, we know that they just the last we saw them was that he got knocked out. Tara was gonna
Yeah, it was. He
no,
knocked him
Rosita
out,
was gonna draw on Abraham,
and then it flashed back to when he first met.
when he flashed back to Abraham.
met
Yeah.
Tara, yeah.
So nope, that was it. So once again, we are on. And the Pats got another touchdown, so we're doing all right here. So we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter. We love doing this with you guys. We'll put it this way: we're in New England, and we're all diehard Pats fans, and we're here watching the Walking Dead, and doing this. So please, keep it going. The Facebook page is doing fantastic with all the comments, and we really do appreciate it. BJ, once again, thank you. Thank you, everybody here at Holbrook Community Access and Media, and have a great night. Be sure to walk on.
Night.
Night.